not sure I've ever mentioned this on this channel, but I did, as almost all Mormons did back in the day when I was younger. I married incredibly young. I was only 21, and my wife was just 19. Yes, that's as completely nuts as it sounds. I didn't really know who I was or what I genuinely believed, and I couldn't have possibly imagined how much I would change in the coming decade. But at least my wife and I waited 4 years before having a child. I had started a graphic design business and things were going well, so we figured we could handle it, at least financially. Unfortunately, that marriage crashed and burned some 5 years later, for reasons I won't go into here. But we stayed together until my daughter went off to college when she was nearly 18. As many of you know, I later married Amy, who was absolutely spectacular as Lucy in our Mr. Deity series. We had been friends for 18 years prior to getting together. She had 2 kids from a previous marriage, and I was actually happy about that. I love kids. I saw both of Amy's kids in the hospital the day they were born, or maybe the day after. The point is, I knew her kids from birth, but they weren't my kids. I had no genetic link to them, either directly or indirectly. They were not my kin, as one might say. And that made a big difference to me. So I didn't treat them quite the same. I poured all of my resources into my daughter. I gave her every second of my available time, took her places, played a zillion hours of Mario Kart and GoldenEye with her, etc. She got endless patience and understanding from me, and I always gave her the benefit of the doubt. Not so much with my stepkids. And don't get me wrong, they were great kids. My stepson was and is a ridiculously talented musician and composer, and now also an author. My stepdaughter was and is the smartest, most talented kid I've ever known. She sings, dances, acts, writes. They're truly amazing people, now both in their late 20s. I just didn't have the same kind of fealty to Amy's kids that I had with my own daughter. I don't think that's a huge surprise. Except I really did intentionally withhold most of my love, affection, time, talent, patience, understanding, kindness, resources, both emotional and physical, from my stepkids. I just didn't want to make that big investment. Now, hopefully you're all absolutely disgusted by me in this scenario. The scenario I've just laid out. That would indeed make me a really crappy stepdad and person in general. If they were all my children, that might be even worse. If I picked a favorite and treated that one child better than the rest, that's kind of awful too. But either way, intentionally withholding love and the various other resources from one's children, step or otherwise, is just gross. Can we all agree on that? Great, because that's exactly what the all-knowing, all-powerful, all-loving tribal war god of Abraham did. If you believe the Bible to be a genuine account of the biblical God's interactions with humanity for the last 5,000 years or so. Of course, that is the role of a tribal war god, isn't it? To favor one tribe over the others. The problem is that God, small g, has been transformed into God, big G, the being of infinite love and compassion, who cares for all of his children equally. And yet, here we are 2,000 years after the incarnation, and 3/4 of the world population remains in the dark, without God's guiding hand to direct them to the correct path. God never showed up for the rest of the people on this planet who live outside the land of Canaan or Palestine. He performed no miracles for them. He freed no other people from their bondage in a foreign land. He never ordained prophets who could impart God's wisdom or make their lives better with some kind of preparation for the coming Messiah. Nor did he give anyone else a land of promise, though I'm sure some of the Arab states would disagree with all that oil and everything. When Jesus was resurrected and then learned how to fly and walk through walls, he could have gotten on a nonstop and visited the people of China, or the Native Americans, as the Mormons believe and teach. Jesus could have visited people all over the world, showing them his wounds in his hands and feet and that kind of thing. He could have performed miracles for them, so they'd believe just like the people of Palestine. And we'd all have a record of this. Believers are constantly telling us how beneficial it is for us to believe in the truths that God has revealed to us, how it makes our lives better. And yet, God clearly played favorites, withholding his love, affection, time, patience, understanding, and resources from the vast majority of people on this planet. And I doubt he's ever played even an hour of Mario Kart with anyone. Once again, I'm me. Thanks for watching.